Hi Weekend Sewing Club, I'm Emma. I have a YouTube channel at Emke Sews and I'm one of the vlogging team here at the Weekend Sewing Club. Sarah asked me to record a tutorial video on how I added this banded V neckline to my jersey version of the side tie top pattern. So I'm going to show you how I did that right now. But while I'm recording that, I thought I would also record a video for my channel because I wanted to work out a way to turn the side tie top, which is a summer pattern, into a winter version. And so I thought I'd do that on the channel. Sorry if you hear any talking in the background, that's my kids. They're home, it's a Sunday, but they're busy playing online with their friends. So I'm in the sewing room having a little time to myself. This is the fabric that I've chosen to sew this version of the top in. It's a knit. I don't know what type of knit it is, but I think of it as like a knit that a cardigan would be made out of. It's not like a jersey. So I cut out the pieces the other day and I've already sewn the shoulder seams together. So you can sort of see the top's already coming together. Okay, so we're going to start by preparing the band piece. And to do this, we need to work out firstly how long it needs to be. And depending on what size you're doing, this will be different. I've been making the size medium. So each size will need to measure your own length of the neckband to work out the measurement of the circumference of the neckline. The easiest way I found to do this is to take the V-neck facing piece and the back facing piece. So you take those pieces and you trace them onto another piece of paper, and then using your measuring tape you measure around the line, making sure not to bend the tape measure but to swivel it so that you stay on the line. When I measured it, I got 58.5 centimeters. Now, because jersey is stretchy, I decided that 58 centimeters would be easier to cut than 55.5 centimeters. So you want to cut a neckband piece that is 58 centimeters long by about 5 centimeters wide. Once you have that measurement and you've cut that piece, then you're ready to get started on the next bit. Now I lengthened my V-neck. I just made the V-neck dip lower. My band is actually going to be longer. In case you think that yours doesn't look the same as mine, it probably isn't because I'm making mine a slightly different size. So once you've got your piece cut, you place it right side down and you press it in half lengthways. When you're pressing it, you want the wrong sides touching and the outside of the neckband will be the right side of the fabric. When you're placing it in front of you, you want the raw edges facing you so that then you can bring both sides together so that they form a V at the front, like in this image. Then you're going to want to pin where the band overlaps and baste 2 inches or about 5 centimeters up from the centermost point. At this stage, you should also use your basting stitch to baste from point to point where the neckband overlaps. You should have something that looks like this after you have basted it together. So now that I've sewn the band that I'm going to add to the neckline of my side tie top into this beautiful loop with no twists. Make sure you don't get any twists in it. I've done that before, like literally when I made this one I did that. So make sure you don't get any twists in it. But once you've done that, you need to prepare the V-neck on the top. So I'm going to sew that right now. So I've just basted the V-neck here and I used a shorter stitch length. I only used a 3mm stitch length because the weave on this fabric is so loose and I don't want it to come out. But as you can see, you can't see the stitching, and I recommend using a thread color that you won't be able to see because it's best to leave the basting in. So that bit of basting there will not come out. So if you use a thread color that is going to blend into your fabric, it'll be much better, trust me. Now that I've done that, I'm going to show you how I join the neckband with the V-neck. Hello, I'm sorry about the angle. This is the best angle that I could find. I've moved my camera everywhere and I've even dropped the tripod, which I'll happily show you in the bloopers, but this is the best angle I could come up with. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is your top with the V-neck wrong side facing out and facing you. You probably won't be able to see, but right here is my basting stitch, and I have my neckband here. You're also going to need a pin. So if you don't have one of those, go grab one. It's really important at this step to be as accurate as possible. I'm actually going to, which side do I want? They're the same, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to put your neckband like this. You just want to lay it out so that there's no twists. I find it easiest to lay it out like this because you're working with 2 points. You're going to join this point to this point and you want them to be as close as possible. So basically, you want to find the centermost point in your stitching and put your pin through there, through the wrong side of your fabric. Hopefully you can see that. And then you want to take your right side of the neckband. You will take the basting stitch out of the center of this later, so that doesn't matter, but whichever you want the right side to be, you're going to want to put your pin through where all the stitching lines meet, and you want it to be on the right side of the fabric. So you're going to put it through that point there. I'll try and get a close-up of this. Basically, you have the wrong side pinned through the centermost point, and then you have the right side pinned at the centermost point there. Okay, so then you're going to make sure that those 2 points are connected with that pin. Don't remove the pin, leave the pin in place. Choose one side, and basically we're going to pin along the basting stitch, pinning the band to the neckline. Might take a little bit of jiggling around, but you want those centermost points to stay straight. And what you want to do is then take this to your machine and sew along there. You'll notice that all of the raw edges are aligned along this edge, so they're all going to get in close. You're going to start by sewing this one side in first, and then we're going to do the same with the other side of the V part of the neckline, and then I'll come back and show you what we do before we sew in the rest of the neckline. Okay, leaving this pin in because we haven't done the other side of the neckline, we can take out the pins from that side, and you can see that the neckband has been joined in that section. So what we're going to do next is pin into position the other side of the V-neck. I have the centermost points connected with the pin, all pinned along there, and I'm just going to sew up that edge. Once you've basted it all in, you flip it out and you can start to see the start of your V neckline. That's a pretty good point. It's not perfect, but because of the loose weave of this fabric, I'm actually going to just leave it. I'm not going to unpick it and do it again, but it's pretty good. And so the last part of adding in the neckline is then finding the center point of the back, making sure your neckband is not twisted, finding the center point of the neckband and pinning that point. And then what you want to do is find the 2 side center points. So to do this, you will take the center front of the neckband and the center point you just found in the back, join them together and find the sidemost point of both the band and the top, and then you want to pin those points together on both sides. Then your neckband will be evenly distributed around the neckline. So see how there's more top than there is neckband. So you're going to want to stretch the neckband, but not the top. To do this, I just gently pull the neckband, find the centermost point and add a pin in there. And then I do that again with the next little bit. Find the centermost point and pin. So when I'm sewing this neckline together, I will very gently pull it so that the top and the neckband are sitting flush with each other and flat when I sew around the neckband. So I'm just going to pin this up. When you get to the shoulder seams, you want to make sure that you're folding the seam allowance towards the back of the top. This bit doesn't have any excess stretch. I wonder if I did that bit right. Let's try it again. Yeah, that's how it wants to be. That's how it wants to be. It will work out fine. I'm not worried. Just means when I sew that bit, I won't need to pull to get the puckers out. If you sewed it like that, it will be puckered, but if you pull it so that they're flush, you won't get any puckers. But this bit, because it's already flush, I won't need to pull the band to fit the top. All right, so let me just lay that out so you can see I have pinned the neckband all the way around. What I'm going to do next is just stitch the neckband on, double check that I don't have any puckers or I haven't missed catching all three layers together, because it's 3 layers, because you've got the top is 1 layer and then you've got the 2 layers of the band. So I'm just going to double check that I've connected all the layers, and then the last thing I'm going to do is overlock around that edge, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, so I have basted in the neckband. Just take out all the pins before I overlock. I'm just going to check the neckline that I haven't gotten any puckers anywhere that I don't want. Nope, that looks great. All right, so I'm just gonna go and overlock that edge right now. Okie dokes, so I've overlocked around the neckline, so I'm going to turn it right side out, and that looks really good. So the last step, well, there's 2 steps. The first step is to remove this basting stitch, and then the next step is to top stitch around the edge of the neckline to ensure that the band stays flat. But this fabric is really delicate, so I'm not 100% sure I'm going to top stitch it. I am going to unpick the basting stitch so you can have a look at the neckline finished. And there you have it, a beautiful finished V neckline. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, Weekend Sewing Club members. I'm going to turn this version of my side tie top into a long sleeve. So if you're interested in seeing how I did that, that video will be over on my YouTube channel. I'll make sure to link that video in the Facebook group for you in case you're interested. But that's it from me. I hope you have a creative day, and I'll see you in the Facebook group. And hopefully I can get this back in position so you can see what I'm doing next. I'm just going to get my chair. Okay. It's going to be easier if I sit down.